Hey everybody, David here. Welcome to David Heavener TV. I have a very special guest with me, Dr. Reg McDaniel. Hey doctor, how are you?
Wonderful.
Good.
Glad to have you come.
Hey, thank you. Okay, question. Cancer. Is cancer a disease or is it a man-made condition that for the purpose of either getting money out of people through these drugs, or I hate to even say it, but killing people?
Well, cancer's been with us for a long time because if you study what goes on in the cell and the DNA code of life, mistakes are made occasionally. And one of those mistakes is a mutation in the DNA that essentially introduces a new strain of cells among the trillions of cells, like you have a revolution in a country and maybe a leader, and he recruits other people. Well, this abnormal cell begins to divide, and it doesn't work in harmony with the rest of the cells of your body and tries to take over your body. You said about man-made. As man makes more chemicals, they can attach to DNA and change the code. And there's some well-known chemicals like Agent Orange that was used in the jungles of Vietnam that it binds to the DNA and changes the code. And that's a mutation that can induce various kinds of malignancies in the cells of your body.
Okay, are you saying that cancer's been around since probably the invention of man, except now we have so many chemicals that's been introduced into society that what happens, it amplifies it, speeds it up?
Well, it increases the incidence, yes.
Okay.
And each year there are hundreds, probably, maybe thousands worldwide of new chemicals generated in organic chemistry laboratory to make different kinds of substances, plastics, coatings, solvents, insecticides, herbicides. In fact, the herbicide that was used in Vietnam interferes with the DNA of the plant, and that's why it kills the plant.
Is this by design, you think, these chemicals that's been introduced into society? Do you think somebody somewhere has some agenda?
I hope not, and I don't think so.
Okay.
I think mostly it's just not appreciating that these chemicals can alter the DNA and induce illnesses, autoimmune diseases, as well as cancer.
Okay.
And I don't think it's, generally speaking, people want to sell it.
Yeah.
They have an incentive, and they want to be able to have something that's safe and effective and it'll work, and they're looking for new products.
Yeah. So, doctor, I have to ask you this question before I forget it, but can cancer be cured? I mean, I'm not talking about be cured by herbs can it be cured, period? Can it be dissolved? Can it be, taken away out of a person's body completely, forever?
Well, it depends how big the revolution of this new train of cells has gotten to. For example, when it's very small, like in a very common cancer of the breast,
okay,
if it's less than about 10 millimeters in size, you can totally excise and take that out of the breast, and it's gone forever.
Okay.
But if it gets too big, as larger it gets, the lower the incidence of survival gets, and if it metastasizes, you're really in trouble.
Okay.
And
okay.
So,
what is the worst kind of cancer to get? What kind of cancer is the hardest to treat?
as a pathologist, I would say the biggest challenge of all cancer is glioblastoma multiforme of the brain. It's a very undifferentiated, wild-looking cell underneath the microscope. And generally speaking, the public knows this, Senator Kennedy, Senator McCain, Robert Novak of CNN all had glioblastoma multiforme, and they lived less than a year after the diagnosis was made, and very few lived to be 2 years.
Wow. What causes it?
That's the big question.
Okay. So are we
No
talking?
one knows about particularly glioblastoma. It's in a bony protective shell.
Okay.
And
Could cell phones have anything to do with it? You know, putting that radiation up to your ear, your head?
I have seen scans where they wore these things in your ear, that the glioblastoma developed right beneath that in the brain. Now, that may or may not, just because there's association doesn't mean that really caused it, but it's of suspicion.
Okay. How about diet? Does diet play a part in both preventing cancer and also curing cancer?
Diet is probably the most important thing about health in general and cancer.
Okay.
Even in the ancient scriptures, Ezekiel 47:12 talks about the tree of life and fruits and vegetables that it ends with, and the leaves of the tree shall be for, depending on the translation, medicine.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't get it from 5,000 years ago, in the New Testament, in Revelations 22:2 ends talking about the tree of life and the water flowing from the Holy of Holies and the throne to the gardens, and that they produce the trees monthly. And it ends with, and the leaves of the trees shall be for the healing of the nations.
Wow.
How much more specific can you get into that? And modern science, clinical and basic science, is confirming this. For example, I have been in research on the aloe leaf gel for 34 years. It's been incredible what this can do, but for some reason, some people say that biblical scriptures are just myths and all it's people made up, just like modern fiction. But for 5,000 years ago and 3,000 years to be this specific, and it can be shown. For example, cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, probably radishes and all, kind of have a bite to them.
Okay.
And the reason that is there's a sulfur molecule in there attached to amino acid that binds to the types of molecules that make cancer and other diseases.
So you're saying if you eat these certain type of vegetables, these green leaves, broccoli, spinach, that it could be you won't be as susceptible to cancer. Is that right?
Well, it would reduce the probability of you developing this change in your DNA, particularly from molecules that you make in your body and breaking down food, and also from environmental toxins.
So can herbs, spices, vitamins, can they play a part in the healing of cancer?
Well, I don't know a better example that in the United States we have, experts tell us, over 5.5 million people with Alzheimer's. Okay. Well, there's a country that has notoriously poor diet and millions living in abject poverty. It's India, and they have the lowest incidence of Alzheimer's of all nations. So they go investigating, why in the world is this so? Trying to find something. Well, I'm trying to think of the spice that the turmeric root's in, that they put into everything. Maybe you can think of it. I'm blocking on it right now.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's when I eat Indian food, I get heartburn. It's like, woo, it's all those spices.
Well, the food over there is so poor, they put it in everything. So they said, let's look at this.
Yeah.
And they found out there's something in turmeric.
Wow.
In this thing. And then they found out it was curcumin in the turmeric.
Okay.
And curcumin reduces the incidence of dementia, and so it's widely becoming research being done, and all is a search to try to block this developing.
Dr. McDaniel, my last question is, I don't know how to ask this, but is it going to get worse? Are we going to beat this, or is it going to actually take us over?
I don't think it's going to take us over. I think there's so much worldwide research done, particularly in some countries where the cancer industry is not so restrictive,
Okay.
Somebody somewhere is going to come up with things to probably to prevent cancer more than to cure it, because once the revolution starts, you've got more of a challenge.
Well, okay, so I lied. I said that was my last question. You just said something that sparks another question. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you saying that Western culture, that United States and the Western, do they put restrictions on certain avenues of investigating preventative ways of curing cancer and stopping cancer?
Well, let me respond to that in this manner. Our Food and Drug Administration has essentially been taken over, particularly since a law was passed that drug companies could give fees to evaluate their new drugs.
Yeah.
And over 60% of their budget now comes from fees from the drug companies. There are every month articles, scientific evidence-based medicine, of the value of natural products, particularly nutrition, to improve health, to prevent disease, and all this research is censored and suppressed by the FDA with a definition that anything that improves health is a drug if it has not been through the expensive and time-consuming FDA seriously flawed evaluation process. It's an illegal drug, and they persecute those companies or individuals that use these scientific articles to back up their natural products that do not come from the drug companies.
So two things. One is they want to control. Two is they want the money. Those two things. You're saying, though, it may come from another country, another part of the world that does not have these restrictions, that'll invent this thing, bring it to America. Then the FDA won't have any choice but say, okay, let's take a look at this, right?
I hope so, and I'm optimistic that the truth will prevail.
Amen. Okay, so Dr. Reg McDaniel, thank you so much. I really appreciate this time with you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm David Heavener. Welcome to the Last Evangelist crowdfunding campaign. I'm so happy to have you take this journey with me. I'm going to play a character named John Rhodes, and I'm an FBI agent. My job is to bust underground churches. That's right, the churches have now married the government. You have the one world government married to the one world religious system, and so you either have the government church or the underground church. My job is to bust the underground church. I go in, I seek them out, I arrest them, and I find out where the next one is, until one night I meet God. So with a Bible in one hand and a gun in the other, I set out to find the Antichrist. I deal with cashless society, mark of the beast, and what's happening according to Matthew 24 in the book of Revelation, the end times. Also, too, I really want this TV series to spawn heroes. I want to play a hero to the kids. You know, kids really need good role models these days, and I feel like with The Last Evangelist, we could fulfill that need. Now, people ask me, okay, David, fine, you're going to shoot it. Where's it going to come out? Well, guess what? We have worldwide distribution through ROKU, Amazon, and other platforms. We have David Heavener TV, davidheavener.tv, where you'll be able to watch it exclusively, and who knows, you may be able to watch it other places too once it kicks off and becomes very successful. So I want to thank you for being involved. I appreciate this time that you spent with me. I want you to hit that button. Thank you, and God bless you.